Come on in, you guys. We're about to start a brand new episode of Jimmy Rants. If you're brand new to Jimmy Rants, it's a show we do here on Instagram Live, also simulcast on Facebook Live. And we try to do a fun show talking about generally health information, things that are out there. I'm obviously a low-carb ketogenic advocate, so I talk a lot about ketogenic diets and fasting and all kinds of issues. I've written a whole bunch of books, 3 of them international bestsellers. We just try to make this a fun show. So it's called Jimmy Rants. Go to jimmyrants.com. You can see all the past episodes of this show. You can also go to YouTube, type in a keyword Jimmy Rants. You'll find the show that way as well. And then if you want to engage live in the content, go follow me. I'm on Instagram at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. And that's how you engage in the show. And then if you like the show, you can watch it live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. We sometimes throw a 5 o'clock one in there, 5 p.m. Eastern Time as well during the week. Then on the weekends, we do 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So check out the show. Thank you for being here. And I've got some really good stuff to share with you here today. So if you've been following my work the last few days, you know I've been telling you about several interesting connections of this COVID-19 coronavirus to things that I've been talking about for a very long time. 15 years I've been in the health space, and over that 15-year period we've been talking about the importance of blood sugar control, the importance of insulin, keeping it low, the importance of getting adequate nutrients in your diet, and if you can't get it in your diet, getting it through lifestyle and supplements and other ways. The importance of why you want higher cholesterol in your body. And I want to focus in on the cholesterol one today. I've been telling you about with the COVID-19, the patients that are presenting, a lot of them have prediabetes and diabetes, and they're the ones that generally are having the most complications. And so there seems to be some kind of correlation there that when this is all over, we might be able to put some pieces together that would say, whoa, this is why it's so important. But we're also noticing from what I shared yesterday that there's some natural things that are happening in the body, making sure you're getting adequate vitamin C levels and zinc and melatonin and vitamin D. All of these things we've literally been talking about for years. This is not brand new information, but it's new to a lot of people because it's now coming on their radar screen that they need to be caring about those things. Isn't it fascinating that it takes a life or death situation, and for a lot of people, this is what this has become. It's become a life or death situation to get you to finally wake up to the reality that what you eat and how you nourish your body and how you get nutrients in your body, all of it matters. Like if it wasn't abundantly clear before, now more than ever, you see why it's so necessary. All these things we talk about. Keeping blood sugar under control, totally necessary. Keeping insulin levels down, totally necessary. Keeping inflammation levels down. That's where the disease is with this COVID-19. If you missed it, this morning I posted a conversation I had with this medical doctor friend of mine, Dr. Keith Berkowitz. If you missed it, it's on IGTV now. I posted it here as well on Facebook Live, and if you missed it too, I did put it as a Jimmy Rants bonus episode over at YouTube, so you can type in Jimmy Rants, you'll find the show, and then once you're there, you can find the bonus episode. But it was a casual conversation I had yesterday morning with this medical doctor who got to thinking about this and started calling around some doctor friends, and he found that there's 4 different doctors using this very specific protocol, which he outlines in that 8-minute conversation. I also did a Jimmy Rants yesterday all about the protocol. And then we're going to have Dr. Berkowitz on my show on Thursday called Real Talk with Jimmy Moore and Dr. Will Cole. So Dr. Cole is a functional medicine doctor, so he'll be on there, and we're just going to nerd out all on why this protocol works, what some of the mechanisms are. It's definitely worth trying. This protocol has been found to get people off of their ventilator within 48 hours. And so it's really exciting to kind of watch the connection between all these nutrients and trying to get people better in the midst of this. But what I'm going to talk about here today hits at the heart of why the nonsense about trying to lower people's cholesterol is just that. It's nonsense. Because you guys know I wrote a book in 2013 called Cholesterol Clarity, What the HDL is Wrong with My Numbers. If you're interested, go check it out on Amazon. But man, like now more than ever before, we're seeing such an intricate role that cholesterol plays positively in your health. People still freak out when they see a cholesterol, total cholesterol, over 200. And what we're finding, and what I'm about to share with you in this story, is that cholesterol is playing an important role in battling the coronavirus. And whether we wanted to admit it or not, one of the intricate roles that cholesterol plays in your body is as a healing agent for inflammation. And if you listen to my brief little conversation, the 8-minute conversation I had with Dr. Berkowitz, he will tell you the hallmark of this COVID-19 right now is it sets off this cascade of inflammatory markers in the body. And when they go crazy, you need something that's going to bring down the inflammation immediately or you're in big trouble. And so he talked about this protocol that I shared yesterday on my Jimmy Rants. He talked about that being an important role in lowering those inflammatory markers significantly to the point of nil. But what about those of you that are walking around with lower cholesterol levels and you get this COVID-19? I want to share this story because if you're worried about your high cholesterol, you better thank your lucky stars you have high cholesterol right now, because check this out, guys. Justin Smith, I remember interviewing him on the Living La Vida Low Carb show many years ago. He had a movie, a documentary film called Statin Nation, and he was talking all about this big push by big pharmaceutical companies and medical professionals to get everybody to take statin drugs as a means for lowering cholesterol to prevent heart disease. Well, the problem is now we have a global pandemic that has hit that is underscoring why lower cholesterol is insane. You guys ready for this? Researchers out of China looked at clinical laboratory features, including lipid levels, that's the cholesterol, in patients who had COVID-19. They found dramatic reductions took place in the cholesterol levels of patients who got COVID-19 compared with healthy control. So what they found was these patients would come in, they'd start following various biomarkers, and one biomarker they saw got hit hardest the first was cholesterol. And you might be thinking, well, what's the body doing? Well, why is all that cholesterol going away? Are they pumping them with statin drugs? Because we don't want them to have a heart attack while they're having. No, that's not what's happening at all. If you know the biochemistry of how cholesterol works in the body, cholesterol is there for a good purpose. Its purpose is to work as an anti-inflammatory piece in your body. So all those people who talk about, oh, you're clogging your arteries by eating fat and cholesterol, they don't know the mechanism about how cholesterol works. The reason why it collects in your coronary arteries, for example, for people that get heart disease, it's not because it's the fat and the cholesterol you consume. It's because there's a lot of inflammation in there. So what raises inflammation in your coronary arteries? Carbohydrates do. Industrialized seed oils, vegetable oils do. Stress does, and other things can do it as well. But those are the main ones that lead to higher inflammation levels in your arteries. So what happens when you have the inflammation in your arteries? What shows up like Superman trying to save you? It's cholesterol. So the vilification of cholesterol is getting turned on its head with this COVID-19 thing, because what researchers are finding is cholesterol levels drop dramatically in the midst of this because they're being used to help heal you from the inflammation. That makes sense, you guys? So this study provides data that suggests that cholesterol levels decline quite rapidly during the early stages of infection. They decline rapidly because that's when all the cascade of inflammation is hitting you. And so when you're inflamed, you want that cholesterol level to be higher so that it could come in. I think I've given the example before, if your neighbor's house is on fire, that's the inflammation, and the firefighter comes to put out the fire, that is cholesterol. Well, guess what happens if you don't have as many firefighters to put out the fire? Destruction. And that's what we're seeing right now. The people, I wonder too, how many people present with COVID-19 and have lower cholesterol because they're on a statin medication? How many of those people, as a percentage of the ones dying from this, how many of those have low cholesterol levels? There's going to be a lot of meta-analysis of the data of these patients when all this is over. And guys, I mean, it's sad what's happening right now because people's bad diet information, health information is now catching up to them. We're now in literally a life or death situation for a lot of people. And it's exposing all of these lies we've been fed for so long. Are you noticing that? Are you discovering like all these things we've been telling people for a while, they're now coming to fruition? High cholesterol was never the issue. It's low cholesterol that was always the issue. Cholesterol levels decline quite rapidly during the early stages, and then they increase as they start to recover. So as you're recovering, your cholesterol levels come back up because it's no longer having to deal with that inflammation. Does this make sense? Therefore, indicating that cholesterol may have an important role to play in defending the body against this virus. Guys, if you have high cholesterol, I hope you are celebrating right now because it means you've got a fighting chance if you get this COVID-19. And I think more than ever before, we need to be putting an end to the conjecture of what we want health to be and to start looking at what health is. Like forever we've been told high cholesterol leads to heart disease and clogs your arteries. Therefore, you need to take this man-made medication to lower what the good Lord who put in your body cholesterol, lower that artificially for the sole purpose of making you healthier. You see how that lie now is being exposed for the fraud that it is? Now, yes, I wrote a book about it. I get it. But think about it, like all those people who have worried about their cholesterol being high for years, now we're learning in the midst of the one of the worst pandemics that's ever hit us, at least in modern times, we're seeing that cholesterol is playing an intricate role in healing from this. And in fact, I want to show you a chart. So what they did was they looked at a 16-day period and they show you, this is the total cholesterol levels. I'm going to show it on all the screens, but it starts at the normal level and then it dips, comes back up, dips some more, and then slowly works its way back up. So that is the pattern that we're seeing with people that get this COVID-19. That is the pattern that they're seeing. They see a precipitous drop in their cholesterol, again, as a response to the inflammation that's taking place in their body. The cholesterol's going there to deal with it. And so as it's going there to deal with it, it's being taken up, it's being used. And then as the body starts to heal, then the normalized levels of cholesterol come back up. Pretty fascinating, right? So this perhaps should not be a surprise since we already know that cholesterol is extremely important for your immune system. Like in all the vilification of cholesterol, and by extension of that, all the vilification of saturated fat, we're seeing was just a bunch of crap. Like, really, guys? Anytime you have doubts about what you believe and why you believe it, look at real world examples. So I've not been worried about my cholesterol for years, even though I've been as high as 400. I think the lowest it's been since I've gone low carb keto is around 270, I believe was the lowest it went. By all markers, it should be making doctors go crazy because they don't like it when it's over 200, when your LDL is over 100, although that's recently gone. If it's over 70, they start having a cow. Never mind your triglyceride levels, never mind your blood sugar, never mind your insulin, your inflammation, and all these other good health markers. They are looking myopically at your total cholesterol levels and your LDL cholesterol levels. And we're finding out all of those like scaremongering tactics to get us on a drug to make us artificially lower this really healthy nutrient in our body. And I want you to start looking at cholesterol as an important nutrient. We've been talking a lot about vitamin D being a nutrient that can make you healthy, vitamin C, zinc, melatonin, thiamine, all these things we've been talking about, you guys. Cholesterol is just as important, if not the most important, one of the most important in the entire human body. So why would you want to lower something that's providing good to your body? I want to see how all the cholesterol and dietary fat apologists that say, oh, avoid the fat because raising your cholesterol and higher cholesterol leads to heart disease. I want to see their reaction to this. When all this is over and all this passes and we look back in hindsight and all these studies come out looking at this data, I want to hear how they explain why higher cholesterol actually helped protect people that got COVID-19. How do they explain it? Because they've done nothing but vilify, 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 vilify. And now when the rubber meets the road and the real world hits, now we're seeing, oops, that cholesterol is actually doing a very good thing in your body. Back in 1997, researchers in the Netherlands published an article in The Lancet showing that elderly people with the highest levels of cholesterol are protected from cancer and infections. This is the thing, guys. As you get older, you tend to have higher levels of total cholesterol anyway. I think the average age of people, the average cholesterol level in people ages 70 and older in traditional cultures, no heart disease, no nothing. Their average cholesterol, 300. And this is people in their 60s, 70s, 80s. 300 total cholesterol. So why is the body doing that? Well, it knows as you get older, inflammation, you're more susceptible to it. Whether it's from infections, whether it's from viruses, or whether it's the development of cancerous cells, the body is preparing itself to have this readily available on hand anti-inflammatory substance that's going to help you. So look at cholesterol. It is an important nutrient in your body. And this COVID-19, guys, is shining a bright light right on it. If we don't miss the lesson of this, then this could be really huge in correcting people's behavior as it relates to what their cholesterol is doing. Other research published in 2013, led by the University of California, found that derivatives of cholesterol can play an important role in the immune system and could protect humans from a wide range of viruses, including Ebola, Rift Valley fever, Nipah, and other pathogens, and ostensibly this COVID-19. Two other studies in 2016 found that cholesterol-lowering statin drugs will impair your immune system. Guys, let this be your wake-up call. If you're on a statin drug, I'm not trying to blame and shame you, but that thing's not doing you any good if you're trying to keep yourself healthy. Lowering your immune system, when we already know taking a statin drug increases your risk of type 2 diabetes by 25%, increases your risk of cancer by 15%, and oh yeah, by the way, also increases your risk of the very thing it's supposed to be preventing, heart disease, by 12%. Let that sink in a little bit. You're taking a drug for the sole purpose of trying to lower your risk of heart disease. And it's actually increasing your risk of heart disease. How messed up is that, right? And so as it relates to this immunity, it'll block the effectiveness of the flu vaccine. So if you're even getting vaccinated for just the general flu, never mind COVID-19 if they ever develop a vaccine, you're increasing your risk of that not being as effective for you because, and if it hasn't become abundantly clear in this Jimmy Rants here today, your body needs cholesterol. And the sooner we learn the lesson that the body does not view cholesterol as this grand enemy in your health. Think about it this way. When you go through periods of time where you don't eat a lot of dietary cholesterol and maybe dietary fat, how do you get adequate levels of cholesterol in your body? Your body makes it. And so if your body makes cholesterol, and yet it's supposedly this really dastardly harmful substance in your body, why do you think your body's stupid? Why is your body pumping out this toxin? I've heard cholesterol be called a toxin before, which cracks me up when you know what cholesterol does. Why would the body make it? If you don't eat it, the body will make it, and vice versa. If you eat saturated fat and you eat cholesterol in your diet, which if you eat a ketogenic diet, paleo, carnivore, if you eat any of these like real food-based diets that have animal foods, you're getting cholesterol naturally in the diet. The body doesn't produce as much because it doesn't have to. You're providing it the raw substance to make it. And so why do we believe that the body is stupid? It's amazing to me. So, cholesterol plays an important role in this COVID-19, you guys. And obviously there's going to be a whole lot more data after all this is over and they look back at the people that got COVID-19 and who had the most severe symptoms and God bless them, the ones that actually died. We're going to look and see what role the medical system, the pharmaceutical companies, all of these entities that have profited, and just the statin drug ones, you guys, $30 billion a year they make off of selling statin medications. And if they're making $30 billion a year, it means there's a ton of people taking this medication for the sole purposes of lowering their cholesterol, but to what end? And at this point, we now know that's putting them at a greater risk of succumbing to this COVID-19. You see how all the pieces are being put together? And like I said, I look forward to seeing some of the data that comes out of this when all of this is over. The you-know-what is about to hit the fan. All right, we're going to come to you guys here on Instagram Live. I'll be with you guys here in a minute on Facebook Live. And as always, Living La Vida Low Carb Facebook page. I can't see you, but I do look at your comments when we're done. Thank you guys for being here today. So welcome in, you guys. Go to JimmyRants.com. If you missed any of the past episodes, you can also go to YouTube, type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants, and you will find the show. Lugene, are you still on carnivore and has it changed your lipid profile? So I have been carnivore for over a year now, and I've been a lot more hardcore. Obviously, when I went on sabbatical, it made it real easy for 6 months to just keep my diet very consistent. And then since all this has gone down with COVID-19, when I returned March 1st, I've pretty much been eating like ribeye steaks and keeping my and eggs, just keeping my diet real simple. So yes, very much carnivore. I have not tested my lipids recently, but the last test, I want to say my total cholesterol was like 320, 315. But I'm not worried about that because my triglycerides were well under 100. My HDL cholesterol well over 50. My inflammation markers still under 3. I think they were 1.2 when I left. Ideally, you want that under 1. So yeah, just keep doing the things, and that's what I'm doing. Great information, says CJam. Thank you for that. Thank you, Sam Martin. Said the same thing. Cariana says, I hate to don my tinfoil hat. Uh-oh. Conspiracy theory time. Bring it, Cariana. There must be some reason they refuse to let go of the cholesterol equals heart disease myth in the face of all this evidence. Cariana, they have 30 billion reasons why. I hate to be so jaded, guys, because I've been in this space for 15 years. And I remember when I wrote Cholesterol Clarity, I was writing it in 2012, came out in 2013. I thought, man, we're going to get this information out there. It's going to be written in lay people language. People are finally going to get it. And we're in 2020 and we're still talking about lowering cholesterol. And it's a powerful thing, all of these like financial connections, because it's big business to put people on a statin medication. It's big business to cut people's hearts open and do open heart surgery. It's big business to do bypass surgeries. You hate to be jaded, but that's exactly why they don't really want this to get out there. It's sad. Bonnie says, I just don't understand how doctors see the other good factors but still only look at high total cholesterol. You know, Bonnie, because I helped you recently. I think it was with your husband that was dealing with higher cholesterol and you were freaking out. And I'm like, no, his numbers are great. The doctor's freaking out. Read chapter 10 of Cholesterol Clarity. I explain why your doctor is so clueless about cholesterol. They're supposed to look at more factors than one, right? How can they justify? Well, the problem is they do have this standard of care, and they actually have cholesterol guidelines that have them, what they have to follow, Bonnie. And so if they don't follow those guidelines, for the standard of care, which part of it with the cholesterol guidelines is if a patient presents with a total cholesterol over 200 or an LDL cholesterol over 100 is what it used to be. Now it's over 70. They have to prescribe a statin medication or they get dinged. They may not even get covered for caring for you if they don't, which is why I tell people if your doctor sees that on your cholesterol panel, just take the prescription from them. Then you, as the patient, can make the decision about filling it or not filling it. I have had a few people tell me when I gave them that advice, they're like, oh, but my doctor checked behind me to make sure I actually filled it. I'm like, well, they can't make you fill it, but you do get them off the hook. When you grab that prescription and you take it from them, there's no obligation you have to fill that. Again, you make that decision based on your own research and what you find out, but they cannot make you go on a medication. But that's why they push it so hard, Bonnie, is they have these standard of care cholesterol guidelines they have to follow. I think I did a whole Jimmy Rants talking about the cholesterol guidelines last year sometime. The truth will always be twisted, says Kat. Yes. Yeah, they try. And it's sad, but it's where we are. Eugene says they're still teaching this misinformation in med school, again, because it's the standard of care. Yeah. Beth says, I can see how corporations can do that, but even the individual peons, how do they sleep at night? Do they actually believe the lies? Yeah, Beth, they do. When you tell a lie often enough, and this is just human behavior, even people that lie to themselves, lie to other people, they end up lying to themselves because before long, you will say a lie so many times that you actually believe it, even though you're the originator of that lie. It's crazy. Ilza says 80% of my female clients start off on cholesterol medications, then they don't even have high cholesterol. That goes first. Yeah, well, in the definition of what high cholesterol means, I mean, they put it at 200. Do you know where they came up with that 200, by the way? In my research for cholesterol clarity, this was fascinating, guys. Listen to this. 200 total cholesterol is the 50th percentile when it comes to disease. In other words, 50% plus, they say you're at great risk for heart disease and having a heart attack and that kind of thing. At the 50th percentile, 50% or less don't. The reason they set it at the 50th percentile is you can get more people on drugs. If you looked at it from a disease standpoint, they don't even look at it as being diseased until you're at least in like the 75 to 80% percentile. In other words, they have artificially made the cholesterol seem like it's high at a very low level. If we looked at what actually should be looked at, and of course this is incomplete as well because we know total cholesterol doesn't really tell you a lot about your health. It's the triglyceride HDL ratio, it's maybe the particle and the particle size and some other factors and inflammation markers, all that. But if we just look at total cholesterol, the actual disease where you need to pay attention to it starts at about 280 or 290. Okay? So if you're below that, you're completely healthy. Literally, cholesterol is the only health marker where they look at the 50th percentile. Are you following me here? So they're not looking at it from a disease management standpoint. They're looking at it as a how many people can we sucker into medication standpoint. It opens your eyes. Guys, if you have not read my book, Keto or Cholesterol Clarity, yeah, Keto Clarity too, but Cholesterol Clarity, go read it because we outline all of this stuff very clearly. Hopefully it makes it understandable, but that's a crazy statistic where they came up with that 200. Lugene says they just document non-compliant to cover themselves. Yeah, Lugene, that's right. If you don't take that statin prescription from them, you will be blacklisted in the notes as a non-compliant patient, and they could actually fire you as a patient by not taking the prescription. They can't make you take the drug though. Bonnie says it's cholesterol brainwashing. Well, the problem is they've never been taught what good role cholesterol plays. They've only been taught numbers, 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 numbers. Never mind what the patient looks like and what the patient's health looks like. It's all about what do the numbers say. So if you went keto or carnivore or paleo or whatever, and your cholesterol went sky high, that's 25% of you, by the way, where cholesterol can go up. We don't know what it means. Nobody's ever been able to figure out what that means and why it happens. But what we do know is those people do not develop massive heart disease because of having the high cholesterol. If anything, it's probably a protective measure. And I'm looking forward to researchers finally figuring out why that happens in a certain percentage of us that go keto. Eugene says most of the cholesterol studies are funded by statin pharmaceutical companies. That's true. And because of that, they're very jaded. And what's the funny part is sometimes they start studies looking for a certain result, and when they don't get that result, they never publish the study. And so that's unethical in my opinion. All right, thank you, Instagram. I'll come back to you here in just a minute, but we're going to come over here to Facebook and see what questions you guys have. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you guys for being here. Good morning from Malaysia, says Alfian. Thank you. Any way to increase the volume? Yeah, turn up your own volume on your device because it's wide open on this end, buddy. But thank you. All right, no questions. I guess I so thoroughly answered everything that you would have as a question. But the bottom line, guys, is they're going to try to vilify cholesterol. And they have been. They've been vilifying the crap out of cholesterol. And if you joined us late, guys, we're now seeing that this COVID-19 coronavirus thing that we're dealing with, we're seeing a very clear trend that cholesterol levels significantly drop when you first start. And let me go back to that graph. So I'm going to try to do the translation in my head for my American friends, but it looks like cholesterol levels start at somewhere around 5.3, which, man, I can do blood sugar really fast, but cholesterol, trying to translate millimoles per liter into our language, it's a little bit hard. But I think 5.3 is something like, guys, help me out if you know. I think it's close to like 305, 310, but then it goes down to 3.5, which comes down significantly. And then it goes back up a little bit, but then it goes back down to 3 before it slowly trickles up. So we're seeing total cholesterol playing such a critical role in fighting off this COVID-19. So what happens if your cholesterol is 130 because you've been on a statin medication because your doctor told you you need to be on it? Guess what? If you had no cholesterol in your body anymore, you would die. But you ask most people, what's the ideal level of cholesterol? They would, 0. You don't want any cholesterol in your body at all. Not knowing it's playing a good role in your body. So if nothing else, the things that have transpired here with this coronavirus is we're shining a bright light now on things that we've been talking about for a long time matter in your health. And we realize all that kind of theory that's put out there that's talking about your cholesterol being higher, being a problem, and other things like that. We're seeing all these messages. What's another one? Blood sugar levels. If they're under 6, you're okay. Well, yeah, but if you're at 6, you're in trouble. Like, they're not even, and like triglycerides, they say under 150, but if you're over 100, you're showing signs of metabolic damage. Like, if this crisis situation we find ourselves in doesn't underscore the importance now more than ever before of eating well and getting your body adequately nourished and giving your body all the things that it needs to not just survive, but to thrive, this, guys, should be our opportunity to be teaching. Use this as a teachable moment. Talk about why adequate cholesterol levels are important. Talk about why controlling your blood sugar is so important. Talk about why keeping inflammation lower is so important. Whether it's through nutrition and lifestyle things and supplements, all of this stuff matters. And now we're seeing why it matters. And if at the end of the day, people still make the choice to not pay attention to this, when the next COVID-19 comes around in whatever incarnation it's going to be, which don't doubt me, we will see another one of these things again. Maybe not to the level of pandemic like we have right now, having to socially isolate and stay home, blah, blah, blah. But it will be bad. We've seen it with SARS and MERS, swine flu, bird flu. All of these things keep coming up. N1H1. This isn't going away until we get a hold of it. And the way you get a hold of it is individually. The way you get a hold of it is you make yourself healthy. You don't let things like this overcome you because you're taking the proper protocols to protect yourself. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, go follow me. I'm over at Instagram Live at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, you can engage live in the content, just like all these awesome people down here. Thank you guys for being here today on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the show, you can watch it on replay on JimmyRants.com. We got a full library of 400 plus episodes that you can go watch. You can also go to YouTube, type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. So we have a good time, guys. Thank you for being here today. I'm trying to keep you on the cutting edge. And at the same time, I hope you're noticing the tone here is not panic. The tone here is calm, positive, peaceful, and informative. And hopefully a little bit entertaining as well. You have to look at this ugly mug all day, but it is what it is. So, all right, guys, until next time, we'll see you then. All right.